Today in the nerdy news you need to know about, a Nintendo Direct has been announced. Sony teases the next Uncharted movie, and Bethesda won't rush Fallout 5. We'll have all this and more because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Monday, June 17th, 2024. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside Forbes 30 Under 30, a.k.a. the New York Game Awards nominated, a.k.a. Leftover Poppy Blessing Adeoye Jr.
I have this feeling that I left something out the dock and I don't know what it is.
Ooh.
And so you're going to have to play a fun game of like, where did Blessing fuck up in the dock?
What do you think? You think you left the story off?
No, not even that I left the story off.
Segment? Segments are always
Maybe
there.
I didn't change a number. We added a story last second.
Okay,
maybe there's housekeeping I forgot to get in there. Did I update the Patreon producer? No, yeah, the Patreon producers are there. Updated the ads. There's something that I feel like I didn't do.
Cut to your apartment and the stove is on fire.
Oh,
it's just
fuck.
like, I left a pot pie in there.
Oh, no.
How was your weekend, Bless?
It was fun. Very busy. Went to a housewarming on Saturday, which is very fun. It was like out there in like far East Bay. And so it was
Don't need those friends.
a long drive there, a long drive back, but it was worth it because it was a very good time. Barrett was there too. He had a good time.
Great time.
Yeah. And then Friday, had a board game night with friends. This is like our third one that we've done where it's the same group of people. We're playing different board games every time. No, never Monopoly. Do not like Monopoly. Yeah, I'm not a big Monopoly fan.
You fucking millennials.
No, we actually play a lot of table tennis. That's the thing is the table. So like,
yeah, I saw you get smoked.
yeah. Oh my god. Well, I did win that game overall, but they didn't.
The one Instagram
media
clip, the one story made you look like you.
The media doesn't want you to know that I'm really good at table tennis. But it's like every single time we do these board game nights, the table tennis takes up more and more of the time because we're all just becoming more and more obsessed with ping pong.
Sure.
And so yeah,
is this somebody's house or is this? It looked like it was like an office.
It is an office. We're doing this at the Twitch headquarters.
Love it.
Yeah, because we have one friend that works at Twitch, and she's just like, "Oh yeah, let's come through, hang out." They have like a really good space.
all the time,
yeah, and so that was a very fun time. Yesterday, got brunch with friends.
Here's a question I have for you.
What up?
It's gonna sound like an aside, but I swear I'm going somewhere that will make sense to what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
In your career, not just here, but in your professional career, or even you can even include dorms, whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been on like a swing shift for making coffee for the office or the floor, or you know what I'm trying to say? Like, have you ever had a communal coffee pot that someone had to redo?
No. Why?
Because I was thinking about like I was making coffee today for Jen and I, and we use a drip machine or whatever. And I was thinking about the fact that when I worked at the Tribune out of college, we had an office coffee machine that if you got there and the coffee was out, you had to make it. And so then there was always this like, oh, well, you know, Irene always bitched about nobody making the coffee, but she loved making the coffee. And then there was this girl, Annie, who did like a semester in Brazil. So she like would fill it to the top with coffee grounds. We're all like, you're insane. She's like, this is how they drink it there. We're like, well, you ain't fucking in Brazil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was like the idea of like, when I went to IGN, very similar to Twitch and even kind of funny to a degree, but like IGN had a fancy coffee machine where it made it by the cup.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like that was like, I didn't realize I was like, the Tribune newsroom is such like, you know, I had like the desk phone with the thing on it to type in my, like it was like such a place out of time, or like it was like the final bridge before you got to what the internet really is and stuff like that. So it's just a weird thing of like, I don't know why today at the coffee maker I thought of that, and then I was like, oh, I bet Bless has never done it.
No. Yeah, I mean, when I get here, I'm using the easy Keurig. This is the one where you put the thing
we have a
in.
Keurig. Yeah,
it's like I'm
not the fancy. Like IGN had like the one that looked like a refrigerator that like would always be broken, but you could make lattes.
So the most I'm doing is filling it with water, and like I'm sure other people use that water, but no, it's not me making coffee for other people. I think I might have had that at my last job, but I was never the person making the coffee because before I worked here, I worked at like Starbucks, like HQ, and so coffee culture. But it was always somebody else who's actually good at making the coffee that was making the coffee, and so I'm just showing up way after the fact, just pouring some and drinking it. But yeah, I think like that's the closest thing I've gotten to that.
I was just wondering. Yeah, I thought I was right.
We can
tell me, have you ever made coffee for an office?
We can make our new version of whatever that is, right? Like a communal thing.
Well, I bought that coffee maker and I used it for a while until I readjusted to the Keurig. But like it was, I forget what day. It wasn't E3 or SGF this year, but there was something that happened recently that was a bigger deal. And I came in and Roger's like, Greg, I made a pot of coffee. And I was like, why? He's like, it's a big day. And I was like, God damn, Roger, fuck yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, are you feeling a lack of community around the coffee? Because
no,
we can
not at
replace
all.
that.
It's just something I said goodbye to, and I didn't realize I was saying goodbye to.
We have the New York. We have the New York Times Games channel, which I feel like is
We're
creating
having a lot of fun out there.
Like,
a lot
I
of
feel
fun
like
out there.
that's
That probably is when I was doing it. There's a song, Coffee, Sunday New York Times, that I like a lot. That it's like,
yeah. Have you done the crossword today? The mini crossword?
Yeah, I did the mini. Here's my problem.
That was fucked
Was it tough today?
For me, it was.
Here's my problem with the mini. So I eventually want to do, when we went to GameScast, one of my ideas is reviewing the New York Times Games app, because Lucy James got me started on it at Easter, and now I've been off and on, and now you guys are into it, so I'm really back into it. The interface on the mini on mobile is so fucking bad.
Yeah.
Where like today, I'm like, I'm gonna have this thing done in 20 seconds. I'm crushing, and then one was wrong, and so I stalled on it, and when I tried to edit it, it did a counterclockwise edit where I started, and I was like, what the fuck? Why would you write? So then I'm like fighting the interface, and I'm not saying my time would have been great because I did get stalled on one of them, but I eventually got there. But it was like, fuck, I was like on the way to a personal record, but now I'm fighting the fucking app.
Yeah, now I have to make sure to like press the exact like square that I want to delete and just delete that one, because the auto kind of delete, it's so weird.
My name is Willis says the mini keyboard is horrendous. The keyboard for Wordle also pisses me off to no stop.
Oh, you don't like the Wordle keyboard?
I think it's just got fat thumbs, and so it's
skinny letters.
It's a different thing than like the iPhone keyboard. So I'm like, oh, I got this one, and I look down and it's like, rather than whatever, it's like PDDL. I'm like, no, I didn't want. No.
I'm having the thing, even though I'm loving the like our Slack for the New York Times things. I am having the thing where, you know, when you jump into a multiplayer game and you encounter people that are just too good at it, and it's like it's discouraging. There have been multiple days now where I'll get such a good time on the mini crossword, and I'm like, oh, I got to be number one today. Yeah. And then either Lucy or Joey will post, and I'm like, fuck, 25. How do you get this in 25 seconds?
After when Lucy got me hooked on it, and I sent her my friend code or whatever, like you know, the next day or 2 days later or 3 days, whatever, and she responded back like, you don't want this heat, and it was a screenshot, and I'm like, no, and I was like, I'm like, this isn't the Greg wrestling character. Like, I know I suck. I just want to see what you're doing and like how, because you're fucking insane. But yeah, Joey crushes them.
Yeah, I will say.
But it's interesting people's strengths and weaknesses. You know what I mean? Where it's like Joey crushes that puzzle. And so I'm like, oh, she'll be better than me at Wordle today. I'm like, oh, I got to Wordle. Not that Wordle's really a competition.
Of course.
None of this is a competition.
The thing is, yesterday I got the connections perfect, and I was like, dude, man, I feel good.
Connections, if you notice, I never post in because I never get them.
Oh, yeah.
I never get connections.
I will say,
I'm always like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I think New York Times Games is making me a better person. Just like in general. Because like, you know, I've been growing with the connections. I've now gotten to the point where I'm doing pretty good on connections.
Yeah.
And yesterday, during the brunch, that was also a board game thing. So we brought out Codenames. I don't know if you played Codenames.
No.
It's basically a game where you have to say, there's like a bunch of words on the table. If you're like the lead or whatever, you say a word, and then your team has to like figure out what words that you're referring to that are on the table.
Okay.
By saying like a synonym or a similar word.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm fucking demolishing it. Because like connections is like now trained that part of my brain.
That's smart.
That is just word association. And yeah.
I miss Brain Age. Remember that? That was a time too.
Which
Were
one
you
was
too
Brain
young
Age?
for Brain Age? Brain Age was a DS
the
game.
Nintendo? Okay, yeah. No, I know Brain Age. I just never played it.
Sudoku, let's go. Sudoku.
Count Sudoku.
Carol Voldemort's Sudoku. Reviewed those for IGN. I digress. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is Kind of Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, Twitch, YouTube, and podcast services around the globe. We run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about live. If you like that, of course, you should be part of the show live as we record it. If you are super chatting on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, you can get your questions, comments, concerns, and commentary read on today's stories. Of course, if you love what we do here, you say, you guys make a great show, you're waking up early for reactions all the time, hint, hint, maybe you should support us with the Kind of Funny membership on patreon.com/kindoffunny or youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. You can throw us $10, get good karma, get every show ad-free, get the ability to watch us record the afternoon podcast live as we record them like the Kind of Funny podcast today, and of course, get the daily multimedia experience known as Gregway every weekday. Of course, we're a small business of 11 people. That's all about live talk shows, and that doesn't stop today, of course. After Kind of Funny Games Daily, you're going to get the GAMESCAST. That is our Nintendo Direct predictions. Then you'll be streaming some Elden Ring with Mike, Nick, and Andy. If you're a Kind of Funny member, today's Gregway is why I wish I was a Nintendo kid. And of course, you can get the Kind of Funny podcast this afternoon. It'll be up later on YouTube and podcast services, later being tomorrow, if you don't want to give us any money. Of course, in the live chat on YouTube, Shah Saleh says, does anyone know if I subbed Patreon, I will see the previous town halls? You'd see the previous everything. If you've never subbed to us on Patreon, you would then unlock 9 years of backlog content. So many Gregways. you'd never need another podcast service again. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Kieran Hovasapien, Carl Jacobs, Fargo Brady, and Delaney Twining. Today we're brought to you by Shady Rays, Harry's, and A Better Paradise, but we'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. 7 items on the Roper Report.
A baker's dozen.
And I respect it. I'm seeing him live. I saw you pump your fist, and I was like, did news break? No, he got the first row of connections done.
Yeah. So far, I'm 1 for 1.
Oh, see? Yeah.
I'm like closing in on the second one. I just got to figure out what the other 2 are.
Live to Die says, do Gregway's only show on Patreon, or do they show up in YouTube if I sub to YouTube? They show up in YouTube if you sub to YouTube. Right now, all of our things are unified. So the membership is great on YouTube and on Patreon. It's just that the membership on YouTube wouldn't give you the 9 years of backlog content because we just started doing that this year. Break. Number 1 on the Roper Report, Nintendo Direct announced for tomorrow with 40 minutes of Switch games coming out later this year. This is our friend Taylor Lyles at IGN.com.
2 for 2.
2 for 2? Shit, fuck, man. Nintendo has finally provided a date and time for its June Direct, which is set for Tuesday, June 18th at 7 a.m. Pacific. The company announced that it would hold a digital showcase in June of last month. Nintendo also tempered expectations, stating this upcoming showcase would focus on games headed to its hybrid game console in the latter half of this year. Additionally, this showcase was previously confirmed not to include any reveal of the console rumored to succeed the Nintendo Switch. So again, tomorrow, 7 a.m. Pacific, 6/18/24, Nintendo Direct, 40 minutes. Games coming later this year, not Switch 2 stuff. No Switch 2 stuff. I appreciate that.
Do you?
I'm glad I know my hopes up.
I mean, that's fair.
Hear about whatever fucking Mario's got. He's got a new hat.
Well, I think for me, that becomes the question.
Turns him into a bat this time.
What's the most... Oh, that'd be pretty cool, actually. Like bat the animal or bat like baseball? Because I was thinking baseball bat. He just fucking goes.
I honestly think the baseball bat sounds more interesting.
Yeah, baseball bat sounds fun.
He's gonna fly some fucking.
I can take out some Goombas. Yeah. Get home runs on him.
Here, before you launch into this, I want to run them through housekeeping. Then.
Okay.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this changes everything about Kinda Funny tomorrow. Basically, imagine everything getting pushed up by about 2 hours. Tomorrow. Well, first off, the GAMESCAST, as you already know, changed to being the Nintendo predictions. Right after this, predicting what Nintendo has tomorrow. I'm not going to sneeze in the middle, sorry. Don't worry about me. 7 a.m. tomorrow, though, a live reaction to the Nintendo Direct here from the studio. Then, after that, which is going to be 7:40, but we'll say 8 a.m., the Kinda Funny Games Daily will do its recording, its thing, as a post-show to the Nintendo Direct. We assume Nintendo Direct's the biggest news tomorrow, right? So, Kinda Funny Games Daily immediately following the Nintendo Direct. Then, immediately following Kinda Funny Games Daily at 9 a.m., an embargoed GAMESCAST that we can't tell you about. Then, immediately following the Kinda Funny GAMESCAST that's embargoed and I can't talk about, 10 a.m., you get the stream. You can go say, hey, what are the boys playing? It's Mullet, Mad Jack Mullet, Mad Jack, one of the two. Nick's playing that. That'll be your stream. So imagine, again, wherever you are, in whatever universe you live in, whether it be London, the fifth dimension,
is London a different universe?
Yes. The moon. All right. No matter where you are, everything gets pushed up by about 2 hours, right? Plus a 7 a.m. reaction live. If you don't want to watch live, of course, it'll be up later. You can catch it on YouTube and yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, Blessing. Back to you.
I was going to say, regarding, you being like, Switch 2, good, that's out of the way. We know that's not going to be here, right? And we know that's not going to be there because they've even mentioned it before. And I think it might have been their financial thing. It's whenever they talked about like, hey, we're going to talk about this, but in June in our showcase, in our direct, we're not going to talk about the Switch 2. That's all good. But the question then becomes, what is the most exciting thing that they can talk about that's not a new console at this point for the Switch? There's 2 answers.
Yeah. Metroid
and Hollow
Knight. Yeah. Silk Song will be huge, obviously, and stuff. Yeah, that makes sense. Sure.
Yeah, I think those are the 2 most exciting things if they're there. That's the thing, is there's not a guarantee that they'll be there.
What about so Nintendo's weird, and I'm not the Nintendo guy, as we all know. Watch the Gregway, you know what I mean? Get in there. But I think for me, what would be exciting would be, especially as they try to get more juice out of this, where I really do feel like, oh man, what's the Switch got the rest of the year, right? Mm-hmm. I could go for an Animal Crossing expansion. I know that they've not done that. They've just done the seasonal events. They've, it's been dead since March. It really feels like 2020.
I think they said they're done with it, didn't they?
I know, but my hope would be oh shit, remember there's rumors that maybe Switch 2 would be this fall. It's not happening. Shit, get a little bit more out of it. What can we do, right? So that's where I look. I'm looking like, what are easy wins? An easier win that obviously takes work. None of this is flip a switch. But a new building for the island and a new whatever, some reason to turn Animal Crossing back on. Same thing with Mario Kart, they've continued to add to that thing and they just never stop. It feels like, right, Barrett? Like, what could you still put in there?
They're done with that.
But again, to stretch it out, right?
It is, it's the weird thing where, I think the Switch, man, we've read so many news stories about when the Switch is supposed to come out. I think originally the talk was, it should be out by this fall, and then reportedly it was, okay, we got to delay this thing into next year. And so if that being the case, what is Nintendo's plan to fill in the rest of that? I think when you talk about easy wins, the other easy wins would be the
Mario
Zelda
Wonder.
I was gonna say Zelda, Wind Waker, and Twilight Princess remasters.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, those have been rumored forever and talked about forever by like Jeff Grubb and that crew.
Grubby!
What are you talking about with Mario Wonder though?
DLC.
Interesting. I never even
A
thought
new
about
fucking hat where he
DLC
turns
for
into
Wonder.
a baseball bat. I just figured it out. You and me just solved it. You know
That'd
what
be
I mean?
pretty sick. That would be pretty sick.
Miyamoto's over there right now going, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
You know, he's making it happen right now. They'll show it tomorrow.
That could be one of those Wonder shrooms, Wonder flowers.
Yeah, exactly.
That could be one of the Wonder that changes the whole level. Now you're just a baseball bat whacking things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
40 minutes is a long time.
40 minutes is a long time. I think when Nintendo does give a lot of time to third-party stuff as well.
Yeah,
like
I was going to say, do you think this is carried by first party or third party?
I think the first party stuff goes back to the Four Horsemen conversation that me and Tim have been talking about, which doesn't just limit it to 4 things. Four Horsemen could be 8 different games.
Sure, of course.
But when we talk about the remasters of the world,
perfect sense.
when we talk about the Four Horsemen of the Switch, signaling the end of the Switch life cycle, things like Luigi's Mansion, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD.
That's got to get some time tomorrow. Yeah.
When is that not out? When does that come out?
No, it's not out yet.
I'm sure that gets some time. Princess Peach coming out, I include in the Horsemen. Paper Mario.
You think they're
going to
did they give her DLC?
God, I hope not. I don't know if that crew needs DLC.
Is she going to be turned into a baseball bat?
Maybe she becomes a baseball player, and then Mario's the bat, and she fucking goes around and swings Mario.
Damn.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, I do think there's that. I think there's
Fucked up, man.
the Nintendo World Championship game that was announced for July.
Luigi's out on the 27th, so 10 days from now.
This month.
Yeah.
Oh, then yeah, I'll think maybe like a launch trailer or something for that. Nintendo World Championship is coming out next month. I'll think something.
Right.
And then, like, what remasters do you have for us? What updates do you have to maybe Nintendo Switch Online stuff? What are the small wins that you can get as Nintendo right now that might not be a big new game unless
Mother 3.
Never.
Drop it online.
I think the only big new game you would have, like, when I say big, I mean like premier first-party game that you would have left in the tank for the Nintendo Switch is Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah.
But the question becomes, is it ready? Like, is it actually here? Where did that fall in the plans as far as like we knew forever ago that it got delayed and shifted to a new studio and Retro's working on it? That was what, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, Barrett?
I think that was 5 because I remember us being in the studio like maybe the beginning of 2020 before we started working from home. I remember being in the old studio when we heard about it.
And so it's been long enough, I would think, for that kind of game to be ready. I think there's a good chance that it's ready. There's also a chance where
it's ready and they sit on it like they've done with other games.
Exactly. Like, what if you are close enough to the Switch 2 where you're like, well, let's just make it a cross-platform thing? Is Metroid Prime 4 even one of those things that you would even want to be a launch title, right? I could see them being like, well, no, it's not Mario, it's not Zelda, it's not Kart, it's not Animal Crossing. Like, this can be the closer for the Switch, and then when we get to the Switch 2, we'll port it.
Of course.
But yeah, I think there's a good chance that we see it here.
Another big one, who knows, like when it's ready, maybe they've been sitting on it, Donkey Kong 64. For Nintendo Switch Online.
That's fair. Who knows if it's ready? Who knows if it's ready?
Everybody's been asking.
And Diddy Kong Racing for that matter. Do we get a new? I think somebody in chat mentioned, will there be a new 99 game?
Yeah, my dog Nick 96 there says that. Yeah,
that'd be cool, right? If we
Animal Crossing 99.
Well, I was gonna say Zelda, but yeah, 99 people drop into an island.
Zelda 99 rumored at one point, or has everything been rumored?
I think that was like that would be a fun one to think about kind of thing, but I don't know if there were actual rumors of it.
Got it.
And Chris Lawson says Pokemon on Nintendo Switch Online. That's another one that people have been waiting for. When the next Pokemon Z-A is coming out next year, I think that does leave room if you want to do a Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, or Fire, Red and Leaf Green, or even like the Pokemon, any of the Pokemon games, honestly. If you wanted to go hard as Nintendo, which they don't really need to do this, but if you want to, fucking just put out all the classic Pokemon games for Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advanced. and make that like the hype thing for the rest of the year. Like that would get people excited for the rest of the year, for you able to package up a lot of those things. I think there's a lot of places you can go for easy wins, but I do think a lot of those wins might be third-party stuff.
Of course, like I said, the GamesCast directly following this episode of Kinda Funny Games Daily is all about the predictions, but I want your wild speculation super chats. If you got something crazy that you think has to happen tomorrow, it doesn't need to be grounded in reality. Let me know. Just like SD Turtle did when SD Turtle gave us $5 over on youtube.com/kindafunnygames to super chat and says, "Mark my words. They will shadow drop Metroid Prime Remaster 2 tomorrow, one day 3, and then lead into Prime 4. Remaster Chibi Robo, please, now."
I mean, that'd be sick. I think that'd be such a fun move. The question is, do they even need to do it? Right? Like with Metroid Prime, depending on when Metroid Prime 4 hits, if Metroid Prime 4 is this fall, I think you let people starve for it. I think you
did a great job of priming it with this last remaster of Metroid Prime, where people were like, where people were like, "Hey, this is an amazing game that I can't believe they nailed this remaster, and then I can't believe it's still so good." And then people who played it for the first time were like, "This game's incredible." Exactly. It was running for people's Game of the Year last year.
That's the thing is, I think Prime 1 is the one. You know, and they did that. That got people hyped. That reminded people how dope Metroid Prime is. That got new people like me into Metroid Prime. I think that being like the one that they do as you're barreling your way towards Metroid Prime 4 is strong as far as like what the conversation is, what the marketing is. I think maybe you do 2 and 3 if Metroid Prime 4 just isn't ready. If Metroid Prime 4 is, let's say, a 2025 game, I could see you doing 2 and 3. I don't think you go as hard with it as you did Metroid Prime 1. I could see those just being light remasters and packaging them as like a collection type deal like they've done before.
And I forget if that was speculated on in the past or if there are actual rumors of like 2 and 3 also being looked at in some way, shape, or form. I forget. I feel like there was conversation at least after the first one dropped.
This can be a kindafunny.com/you're wrong thing, but I think before even the first one dropped, I think it was speculated that Metroid Prime 1 was going to be given a bit more like TLC, and then 2 and 3 were going to straight up be just like ports.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay. I got one here. Bander SN super chats on youtube.com/kindafunnygames. It says Miyamoto drops the actors for Mario 2.
Oh my God. Could you imagine? Like we get the part 2.
Remember when he did that?
Yeah.
Remember we were watching that and they did that and everyone got funnier the more you went? And then they put out a hell of a movie.
Getting to Keegan Michael Key in that still fucking cracks me up to this day. That could be really cool. You're not gonna have like the same. It's not gonna hit the same as that first time, right? Because it is like you got Chris Pratt as Mario, you got Charlie Day as Luigi.
But who do you add, right? You have to. What is this? Wario and Luigi?
Yeah, I would think. Yeah, Wario and Waluigi.
Ooh.
Yeah, who would you add? Daisy, I guess. But we're assuming these people are even in a Mario 2. I don't even know what direction you go from Mario 2, right? Like. Yoshi was spoilers for Mario 1, but
yeah, look at that, man. Why you shout when they show Chris Pratt?
Yeah, like in chat, you guys can remind me, right? Like, who else would we even have? Maybe we get like something about a Donkey Kong movie.
Birdo they're putting out there. Yeah, and again, I'm talking out of school as not the biggest Nintendo fan. Where are we at with the Zelda thing? What isn't there a Zelda Netflix or a Zelda?
There's a Zelda live action movie being worked on.
That the Kong guy, Tim just went and saw a movie and it was by the guy.
It's the director of the recent Planet of the Apes movie.
Right.
Who also directed Maze Runner ?
That seems like a ways out, though.
Right now in the YouTube chat, Brian says Steve Buscemi is Waluigi. Danny DeVito is Wario, we know. Yeah. Danny DeVito is Wario, of course, we understand.
He's not Wario, we got a fucking riot.
John Leguizamo is Waluigi's pretty great, too.
That'd be pretty sick. Oh, that'd be fucking
Bob
awesome.
Hoskins died, right?
Oh, did he?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Rest in peace. Yeah, no, I mean, I think you could get some movie stuff here. Zelda seems soon. Maybe if you have a lead star who's playing Link, or somebody who's playing Zelda, maybe you announce one of those and not the other. Hey, we're working on this. It's live action, but you know, like obviously they're not like, oh, you guys are nervous about it, because I think a lot of people are nervous about what that project is going to be. But if you lead off with this is who's starring and it's somebody who's a banger, I think that helps to get that goodwill going.
Do you think that's how it's going to go, or is it going to be an unknown?
I would love it
to be Link.
For it to be an unknown.
Yeah,
I think there's more likely it's an unknown. I don't know what known actor. I think
it's more likely it's Timothée Chalamet.
There's no way. I don't think it can be Timothée Chalamet.
I'd be down for it.
It'd just be too weird. I don't know. Like Timothée Chalamet is too.
He's a gamer like us.
I mean, he is, but he's an Xbox gamer. You know, we don't trust him. He's just too known. You know, like if I'm gonna look at the screen and I'm not gonna see Link, I'm gonna see Timothy. That's the problem.
Is that fucking Wonka?
That's fucking Paul Atreides. He's
That's
just gonna ride a fucking worm.
Big name. That's why I would love for them to go no name, but I just don't know if they have the vision and the gall to do it.
A lot of people popping off in the chat for Hunter Schafer as Zelda.
See, Hunter Schafer as Zelda would be a fucking slam dunk. But yeah, I could see that. I could see, again, there have been rumors about the Donkey Kong thing.
Yeah.
Maybe we get something with that.
My name is Willow6 Super Chat and says Zelda casting announcement. Danny DeVito is Tingle. We need Danny DeVito and everything. You know? We're not getting enough juice out of that guy.
You just don't watch enough It's Always Sunny. They're always making new
No,
episodes.
I love him in that.
I still gotta watch that show, Smiling Friends. I know it has nothing to do with any of this, but I keep seeing clips on TikTok.
Funny. Yeah.
It seems hilarious.
Yeah. Andy's always telling me to watch
Danny DeVito inspired casting as Yoshi.
No, he's got to be Wario. I saw my favorite one was somebody who's like, cast him as Wario, but CG him into the movie. Like he's the only human in the movie.
So do you have any hype for this? Do you have any excitement for a Nintendo Direct?
I have the usual interest. I know there will be games that speak to me, but again, not having that nostalgia for it, like it's just not my company. So no, like I'm not like, and I'm not the Metroid guy. Like I'm excited to see what that game looks like, and I hope to play it when it comes, but Switch is just always so on the back burner for me just because of my gaming choices, where it's always like, I'll get to that, and I never get to it. It stacks up. Right now, working on a redacted review, and then I need to turn the Switch on and get to 1000 cross resist. All right?
Yeah.
I'm sick of you guys talking about it. It sounds like my shit.
Fuck yeah.
But then, of course, I have free time at home, and I end up playing Fallout, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I'm in the place with this that I was with like Xbox Showcase before we got to it, where I just don't know what we're gonna get. Like the things that I know are not the things that I expect are the Zelda remasters, and then from there it's like we could get Hollow Knight, we could get Metroid Prime, and then there's just a bunch of question marks for me. And so I'm like, I'm excited, but I'm also like, all right, cool. Like we'll see when we get there. I'm not gonna give a number to it because when I did that with Xbox, people got really mad. But like, yeah, I'm kind of just here waiting. You know, I'll be excited when I'm in it and we're actually seeing the games.
Sure. I'm sure you're gonna have to give a number today. Okay, so just get ready to give.
Oh no, I'm not giving a number. I'm never giving a number ever again.
Adam pops in and says, "I would love either Mario Party Superstars DLC or a new Mario Party altogether."
I don't think we're gonna get a new Mario Party for Switch. We've gotten 2, which is one more than Nintendo usually does per franchise of a thing on their platform. But I think DLC is a strong contender. You know, there's so much more you can reach into as far as the Mario Party nostalgia and that's what Mario Party Superstars is, right? It is the throwback to the N64 games. And so, yeah, I think maybe you can add some mini games, maybe you can add a new map or 2. I think that would be pretty exciting for that audience.
Okay. And then final one before we move on is from Tricky Kappa, who super chats and says, Planet of the Apes totally convinced me Wes Ball can do the Zelda movie. He's got great adventure chops.
I look forward to seeing what that movie is. For me, they nailed the Mario movie. And even though Mario movie wasn't like the, 100% Rotten Tomatoes ass like kind of thing. It was a really good time and it hit everything that I wanted it to hit. And so I'm like, all right, cool. If we can make a Zelda movie that it doesn't have to be a fucking like Oscar best picture nominee. If we can make something that speaks to the fans and something that feels like it invokes that sense of adventure, I'm down for it. Yeah. Even if it is live action, right? Like, let me see how it looks first and then I'll judge from there.
So, do you think it's going to be its own original or do you think it'll be inspired by one of the games?
I think it'll be its own original.
Really?
Oh. I mean, you could do like an Ocarina thing. But
I think Ocarina's so good.
Yeah, but like Zelda, I mean, when you think of what Zelda is, right? Zelda at its core is just going on an adventure. It can be so many different things. And I think for a Zelda movie, I think you want to kind of strip it down to the bare bones and go, all right, what are the things that we need to hit and how do we
save the princess from the evil guy?
Yeah, and like how do we make a story? How do we make an adventure
Sheik,
Herbie and Sheik would be a fucking that would be sick. Actually,
that's the whole thing. Like people would be like, oh, it's fucking woke. You're like, no, you morons. This is how it was in the 90s.
Yeah, this is what the game was like. But I think, if you strip it down to its bare bones, you then as a movie maker have the freedom to go, all right, how do we make this the best for a movie, right? We don't have to adapt a game beat for beat. We can like make something. But if you did want to take a lot of inspirations from Ocarina of Time, I think that could be smart too, right? Like you mentioned, Sheik is such a strong concept. The time stuff, I think, is such a strong concept. Cool. Like, imagine that in a movie, you hit that halfway point, spoilers for Ocarina of Time, I guess, and then like
a couple things already.
You jump forward in time and shit's fucked.
Temple of Time, fucking
that's
awesome.
Such a cool idea.
Weird-ass mummy zombies walking around. Barrett, you of course did Zelda in review. You're popping up right now. Everybody go watch Zelda in review.
Yeah, parts 1, part 2, both out now. My argument against Ocarina of Time is that you would need not just an actor playing live action Link, you would need a child actor playing live action Link, and that would be interesting.
I mean, they still use children in movies. It's fine.
Yeah, but
you get Tom Holland playing child Link.
There you go. Yeah, Timothy
Chalamet playing adult Link. We fixed it.
If I was a betting
even though Tom Holland might be older than Timothy Chalamet,
I would put my money on a Breath of the Wild type of story.
That could be really fun too.
It doesn't do like the whole time stuff, and it's just like a very simple. You go to the 4 different parts of the kingdom to get unify like the different people, and then go fight the big bad.
Seems like a lot for one movie.
Timothy Chalamet and Tom Holland, both 28 years old.
Wow.
Who
would have thought? Ladies and gentlemen, did you know our business is nearly 10 years old and we could still use your support? Of course, with the Kinda Funny membership, you can get good karma. You can get all of our shows ad-free. You can get the ability to watch us record the afternoon podcast like the Kinda Funny podcast this afternoon. And you get your daily dose of Gregway. That's me in the car making a podcast/video show for you, all with the Kinda Funny membership. But guess what? You're not using your patreon.com/kindafunny or youtube.com/kindafunny games membership benefits. So here's a word from our sponsor.
This episode is brought to you by Shady Rays. Get ready for the season ahead with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers an unrivaled product that's just as good as any expensive pair we've worn. Durable frames and world-class optics for all outdoor adventures. With an extensive array of styles and colors, you're bound to find the perfect pair of Shady Rays sunglasses. Y'all know I've been outside in the sun a lot playing Pokemon Go, and it's such a great experience wearing Shady Rays when I am out and about looking dope. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost or broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on day 1, they told us they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. Exclusively for you, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code KF20 for $20 off each pair of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. This episode is brought to you by Harry's. I always hate when I buy something and then I talk to someone else and I realize I way overspent and they got it for cheaper. It's happened to all of us, but getting ripped off is no joke, especially when there's razors involved. The people at Harry's were tired of seeing everyday people paying way too much for low quality shaving products. So they found a way to make beautifully designed razors without laughably high prices. You can get better designed and better value grooming products made by a company that forged their own path in the grooming industry. Harry's has been keeping me looking right for years, and you already know I'm going to count on them for a high quality shave for my wedding. Highest customer satisfaction in the shaving industry. No risk trial. You don't like your shave? No worries. It's on them. Convenient subscription options that allow you to cancel at any time, and you can stop getting ripped off. With Harry's, you can get a shave that's a cut above the rest. Get started with a $13 trial set for just $3 at harrys.com/kindafunny. That's harrys.com/kindafunny for a $3 trial set.
This episode is brought to you by A Better Paradise. From the writers of the Red Dead Redemption and Grand Theft Auto series comes the new immersive audio fiction podcast, A Better Paradise, Volume 1 and Aftermath. Set in the near future, A Better Paradise tells the story of the ill-fated development of an ambitious but addictive digital game world project led by inventor and psychologist Dr. Mark Tyburn. As the advanced software they developed began to deliver unexpected and disturbing results, the team fell apart under strange circumstances and the project was abandoned. The game world and the super intelligence within were discarded, left dormant and undiscovered. Until now. I listened to episode 1 on my way to work today, and the thing that stood out, of course, are the performances, but then as an audio drama fan, it was the use of monologues. There's a whole bunch of talking here as it sets up the world that is not that far from us in the timeline and also not that far from us in the technology, which is disturbing, but I'm quite interested to see where it goes. A Better Paradise is out now and available everywhere you get your podcasts. Go listen today, and don't forget to follow A Better Paradise on your platform of choice to make sure you never miss an episode. And we're back. What's the update on connections, Bless?
Fuck. I'm 1 away. I'm 2 for 2. I got 2 out of 4 right now.
Yeah,
right. 2.
I got 2 misses remaining. You got time.
Yeah, but I wanted to get it perfect.
I hear you.
I was on such a good run, and like just one of these fucking words is wrong. I can't figure out which word is wrong.
Sucks to suck, Liz.
I know. I'll be better next time.
I failed connections today.
Number 2 on the Roper Report, ladies and gentlemen, Sony teases Quentin Tarantino's final film, the Beatles movies, and live-action Zelda at CineEurope presentation. Parentheses. Also, the next Uncharted.
I'd add that.
Alex Rittman at Variety reports, Sony Pictures gave the first major studio presentation at 2024 CineEurope trade show on Monday. In a short but sweet show in Barcelona, which preceded the screening of Greg Berlanti's rom-com Fly Me to the Moon. Of course, Berlanti, he was the whole CW universe guy with your Supergirls and your Arrows and your whatnots.
The trailer looks cute.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I forget who's in it. Somebody's in it.
It's ScarJo and Channing Tatum.
That's right.
It says it right there.
Starring Scarlett Johansson and Channing Tatum. Sony's president of international distribution, Stephen Odell, gave a whistle-stop rundown of the studio's upcoming projects, revealing an enviable list of filmmakers it is working with. Among the films referenced were Danny Boyle's zombie sequel 28 years later. Let's fucking go. Cannot wait, blessing.
Yeah.
Plus, they got Cillian Murphy back for it. Fuck yeah. I always get it wrong. Taika Waititi, right?
Taika.
Did I screw that part up? I was so hard on the last name. Clara and the Sun, and the Beatles thing nobody cares about. Also mentioned were Jason Reitman's SNL 1975, blah, 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 blah. The sequel to Tom Holland's starring action-adventure Uncharted, and the much-hyped live-action adaptation of Nintendo's hit video game franchise Zelda, coming off the phenomenal success of last year's The Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Did somebody add banana to the article? Was that you, Barrett?
Yeah.
And Greg just fucking skipped through it. Good on you.
There's just so much shit in here that nobody cares about. We're the game show, so do we care who's in Clara and the Sun? No, we don't fucking care. Although Jenna Ortega's cool.
I won. I finished Connections. some BS on these last two.
Anyways, remember everybody, the Zelda movie and Uncharted 2 movie are real movies.
The blue and purple Connections today, they're fucked
They're
up.
bullshit.
Fucked up. Is this the first time they've mentioned a sequel to the Uncharted movie?
Probably. Who cares?
Do we want to see? Like, what do you want out of a sequel to an Uncharted movie? I guess that's the question.
The Uncharted movie, I am not the movie guy, as we all know. I enjoyed the Uncharted movie for what it was. I left and never thought about it again. And when we think about it, the first thing I think of was the Subway. They had a lot of Subway promotional shit in there for the sandwich and the brand Subway. And then more importantly, that like the whole movie hinged on the bad guys, right? Like they were like on an island, totally unrelated. They just saw Tom Holland go by, like, oh, we should follow him.
Yeah.
That like if they 5 minutes either direction, that doesn't happen, they get away scot-free.
Do we want actually, this is actually very interesting coming off of the Zelda conversation, because Uncharted is the example of they didn't really adapt a specific Uncharted story, right? They just made their own story that felt Uncharted.
They gave Marky Mark the mustache at the end. That's all that mattered.
They did do that.
Hell goddamn Dorado.
Do you think for a second when they adapt one of the game stories?
I don't think so. I think they mix some stuff in there. Sure. I think they introduce Elena. I think that would be the big thing, right? Because they didn't have her. She's still there. Then we have the love triangle, the drama behind it. Even I guess they weren't really like in a loving relationship.
Was Chloe in the first one?
Yeah.
I just blanked out on that. Holy shit.
Yeah. She was the one, I think, on the island that spotted them. Or no, at the end, they spotted her on a boat driving the wrong way. I don't fucking remember, you know?
Yeah. I'm
allergic to mid-movie, sorry.
No, I feel that. No, I'm sorry. I'm starting to get a little bit stocked up too. But like, I guess for me, as somebody who likes Uncharted, I couldn't care less about an Uncharted 2 movie.
Did you watch the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I watched it and I was like, all right, cool.
Fine,
that's
whatever.
fine. It was an action movie. I felt
Yeah.
the same way about that I felt about the last Indiana Jones movie, which is like, cool. It's fine.
The one with Fleabag?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't see it.
She's great. But
She's
like,
awesome.
Yeah. But it's the thing where it's like, it's mid, right? And so for a new Uncharted movie, I think I would be more interested if you were just going to adapt one of the games. Like if you were to
See, I think that's where you start angering fans.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? If they're going to come in and do that, people are going to get fucking angry about it.
Yeah. But if they're coming to, like, if say you sit down, you're about to watch Avengers King's Dynasty. Even though
maybe not.
I'm
watching Fantastic Four.
You're going to watch Fantastic Four and the trailers pop up and it's a trailer pops up and it's Tom Holland and it zooms out and he's hanging from a train. That's like,
okay, fuck, you got me.
Yeah,
you fucking got me. You got me right there. Hell yeah. I'll pre-order the tickets right now. Give me my Garfield bucket.
Like, I feel like if you're not going to adapt a full game, you adapt the big moments. that train moment would be sick. They did like the plane moment a little bit in the movie. Yeah. I think you do stuff like that.
I agree with that. Yeah, totally. Take the set pieces and the iconic stuff.
And I guess they kind of did the ship stuff from 4 a little bit too toward the end of the movie. It's different, but like, I think you need to adapt that train sequence. I think that train sequence could be the thing that like ties the whole movie together and honestly carries that entire film. Because I see that in the trailer, and I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna watch that.
Does Nolan North have another appearance? A very awkward, like, I've been there before.
Yeah, he's just the dude sitting on the train.
Like, this is hilarious. That's Nolan.
I feel 1,000%.
Good. I think that'd be fun. For as nonsense as the movies are, and who cares? Like, if every movie they do, like Nolan North has another run-in with Tom Holland in a very similar conversation. Yeah. And Tom every time is like, wow, and this moves on.
This guy looks familiar. I will say, somebody in chat mentions it too, that the latest Mission Impossible movie did do a very similar train thing.
Yeah.
But I think Uncharted, you could frame it in a different way in Uncharted, right? In Uncharted 2, you start off on like hanging off of that train, and then later on in the game you get to it, and it is a prolonged sequence. I think you could do that in the Uncharted movie in a way that makes it feel different from Mission Impossible.
Yeah, because Mission Impossible, that train sequence is why I call Mission Impossible the hit comedy of that summer. Because that entire train sequence, how it's edited, how it's paced, it feels very comedic.
Yeah.
Number 3 on the Roper Report, Embracer shuts down Alone in the Dark developer Pieces Interactive. This is Ryan Dinsdale at IGN.com. Alone in the Dark developer Pieces, it's Pieces, yeah, not Pisces, right?
I see it as Pieces.
Okay, just making sure. Interactive has been shut down by the now infamous Embracer Group after the game failed to meet expectations. A statement on the developer's website lists a 2007 to 2024 lifespan for Pieces Interactive, alongside the message, quote, "Thanks for playing with us." It also offers a short history of the studio before a dedicated paragraph comments on its acquisition by Embracer Group, which in the last year has also shut down developers Free Radical Designs, Onoma, and Volition Games amid layoffs affecting more than 1,000 employees. Quote, in 2017, Pieces Interactive were acquired by the Embracer Group after working on the expansion for Titan Quest Ragnarok, and 3 expansions for Titan Quest Atlantis. The post said, "Our last release was a reimagining of Alone in the Dark."
This sucks like it always sucks.
Yep.
The thing that broke me with this one was seeing the image of 2007 to 2024.
A long time.
That's like
17 years.
That's a very long time, but also, yeah, like you're coming in as Embracer and you're shutting down studios that are fucking classic studios, right? Like it hit me for Volition because I really like Volition. But yeah, like I don't know, like the video games industry, we talk about this like it feels like weekly, very too often, right? Of like we're in such a rough place right now for the games industry, and studios getting shut down and layoffs happening, and just the business feeling like it can't support the workers in the studios that are here to keep things going, are here to actually support it. For a studio to get shut down that has been around since 2007, and like they're not a hit machine necessarily. They're not out here as like fucking Insomniac or Respawn or whatever, but they're making games like Alone in the Dark, right? They're making things that there is an audience for, right? And there's something there that should connect with people and has connected with people for at least since 2007. The fact that we're in 2024 and it is all right, you got bought up by Embracer in 2017 and you don't serve Embracer's vision anymore, and so you're getting shut down wholly because a big corporation decided to acquire you 7 years ago. Like that fucking sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quote tweeting the thing I quote tweet from DICE where I called out how fucking Embracer Group really fucked up this place, huh? Like I do every time this happens now, or anytime there's lots of layoffs, right? It's the idea, right, that like, what the fuck? Like, what you bought them? What did you expect from Pieces Interactive? What did you expect from Alone in the Dark, right? And granted, I think that the expectations shift, and when you are Embracer Group and you are in free fall and the deals have fallen through and everything's going to hell, and that's I get that it changes, but like also fuck you for doing this. Like, why stop buying people and like not expecting that there's going to be a problem? That that we talk about this every time, so I don't need to rehash the same story. But like, if we bought Easy Allies and No Clip and all this stuff where they bought us, whatever combination. This isn't a dick measuring contest. And then all of a sudden, we aggressively expanded to another building because, holy shit, Twitch has changed something, so we think it's going to be huge. And then 6 months in, it doesn't pay off and we lay all those people off. Like, that's shit. That sucks. That's stupid. Don't do that.
Yeah. It's just so wild that one corporation can have such a damning effect on the industry. Yeah. Right? Like it sucks that the higher ups, the executives, mainly like a small group of people with a lot of fucking money can come through and go and make decisions that lead to long-time studios getting shut down. Volition, people who made Saints Row, people who made Red Faction, right? Franchises that you love get shut down because of the actions of a few people with a lot of money. Like Anoma, correct me if I'm wrong, was Square Enix
Montreal.
Yeah, Square Enix Montreal. Get shut down again because of a few people at the top with a lot of money at Embracer that went, hey, what if we buy THQ and like bought a bunch of studios and like operated, and what if we try to make a deal with
Saudi
Arabia?
This goes back to the deal, right? If you're buying these things, and what are your realistic expectations for them? Did you buy this thinking, as I'm assuming Embracer has since their genesis, you buy these things thinking these properties matter? Shockingly, and I'm not trying to insult anybody's work here, Alone in the Dark is not fucking Resident Evil. Period. And like, there must have been some meeting of, well, look at all these other classic horror franchises that are finding their ground. If we buy Alone in the Dark and we go do this, and we'll get David Harbour in it, right, from Stranger Things. I don't want to pronounce his name right.
Yeah.
But like, you saw that game come out, dude. Jack shit. Weeks later, I remember on a Games Daily, maybe even months, I mentioned it, and I mentioned David Hart. People were like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, there was no marketing for this game. Like, you're buying these things and doing these things and spending the money, but then you get to the point and like you're releasing them into a vacuum. You're releasing it into a world where Steam Next Fest just happened. There's a million games to talk about. SGF just happened. There's a million games to talk about. Remove those two giant events, sure, and every week there are 3 amazing games to talk about.
Yeah.
So you can't put out a game that's AA, that has no following, that isn't going to do it. It doesn't meet expectations. What the fuck were your expectations?
That's the thing.
Anyone could have told you this game wasn't going to do 17 million copies.
And that's the thing that really sucks about this, is that their business obviously was to go, they're going for big numbers here, right? Like they're going for, they made these deals. They're acquiring Crystal Dynamics. They're acquiring like these big studios. They're acquiring a lot of studios. In their heads, they are trying to make big money. I think the version of Embracer that works is the version that goes, hey, let's acquire a small number of studios and foster these studios and work within the scale. It's similar to the conversation I had with I think it was Zalivri Nelson that was having this conversation in our interview that was talking about like,
great episode.
You have to operate sustainably, right? Like, and I think the thing I would point to would be things like Devolver or the thing that just got announced at Summer Game Fest with all the horror games. Blumhouse, or like Annapurna. I know that these publishers don't necessarily own the studios they're working with, but if you follow with me, right, like there is an eye for, we see the scale that we're working with, and we're going to work with what we have with the scale to foster the best things possible.
I would even jump in and throw in their Outer Sloth now, right?
Yeah, Outer Sloth.
We made so much money with Among Us. Now we're putting it back into the indie community. None of them are, like I said, again, they're not acquiring these studios. They're publishing games. But I doubt they're publishing these games expecting them to do fucking Among Us numbers.
And I like, the examples escape me because I'm sure there are examples of smaller publishers that do own studios and do operate on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
But with the studios that Embracer has been acquiring, that is the kind of the scale that you want to work with. Like, figure out how to do that on the AA level, as far as, all right, we see who these studios are. We're looking at Volition. We're looking at whoever, and we want to figure out how to make the games that you're making in a sustainable way and make sure that we're working with that scale and not overgrow. The problem with Embracer is that they overgrew like crazy, and the business model just never made sense from the get-go. Of we want to buy everything,
and you assume and hope that is, and this is a shitty thing to assume and hope, but like, it's obviously the blown deal that went for $2 billion or whatever, right? Yeah. That then topples back to this, where hopefully when they bought these folks and were like, make Alone in the Dark and put David Harbour in it, they set realistic expectations for what that game was.
Yeah.
But then when this happens, the aftershocks radiate out from that, right? The ripples in the pool to get there and be like, you still didn't meet the expectations we set, but now we can't afford to have misses. And sadly, we're the Embracer Group. All we make are misses. Yeah. Like, where's the fucking hit for Embracer Group? Keep milking Lord of the Rings. We'll see what happens. Number 4 on the Roper Report, more sad news. Wizard with a Gun developer, Galvanic Games, is closing down. This is Jordan Midler at VGC. Galvanic Games, the studio behind Wizard with a Gun, is shutting down. Posting to Twitter, president and founder Patrick Morgan wrote, quote, "With a heavy heart, I announced the closure of Galvanic Games." Despite claiming that Wizard with a Gun got off to a promising start, sales of the title were not enough to sustain the studio. Quote, "I may never get over the irony of spending a decade building my ideal team only for it to end after our most productive year. The dedication, creativity, and hard work of every person on our team have been nothing short of extraordinary. Thank you for the support and the memories. We are grateful for the journey and hope that our paths will cross again in the future, end quote.
This sucks.
100%.
This one is like a little bit surprising. I Wizard with a Gun came out just last fall, and I think there was excitement going into it. I don't know if it was able to hit the things that it was trying to hit.
I mean, I'm looking right now, right? So Steam, it's a 9 out of 10. PC Gamer, 80%. IGN, 6 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah. So it seems like there's a range there. But, that was one that was published by Devolver. The trailers look really interesting. It seemed to be going for a gameplay style that might have resonated with people, right? Like, it is this, like, survival crafting experience, but with a cool concept to it where you're a wizard with a gun.
Yeah.
And, like, I think it's the thing where, of course, there are successes, there are failures, and there's everything in between, and not everything. Not even the coolest looking indie game might not hit if the audience just doesn't flock to it.
Yeah.
But I think this one I am just surprised to see the the way that this game was received lead to the studio shutting down 6 months after the game release. I feel like this happens, I guess, not as often for a game of this like notoriety, of this scale.
Yeah. So October 17th, 2023 is what Wikipedia has at it.
Yeah.
We are going off of what we have here. No more, no less. The thing I would say is that this is maybe the first that we've heard of or talking about or whatever of many. Mm-hmm. You remember I came back from DICE, and the main thing I was talking about was there being a fear in the air that there wasn't as much money to go around for smaller projects anymore. Mm-hmm. That because of the economic headwinds and yada, 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 you were seeing publishers be tighter with their pocketbook. You were seeing less indies getting funded, more people in the pool, so it's harder to get this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So when you're talking about independent game development, it's easy to jump to a super giant. It is easy to jump to Aggro Crab and the success they just had with Another Crab's Treasure, right? Where you have these breakout things that do outrageous numbers and everybody flips out, as they should. Little Kitty, Big City. The list goes on, right? But I think what's interesting and important to understand is that for a success like Wizard with a Gun, even to be published by Devolver, right? That's a deal with Devolver to publish that game, which is great. And oftentimes, and I'm not speaking about Wizard with a Gun because I do not know anything about that. Oftentimes you see publishers sign on and fund a game to get completed, add to a game, do whatever, which pays them the checkbooks and pays the checks to make sure that happens and gets there. But then you need that baton pass of the next game to keep going. Mm-hmm. And so you need to get that publishing deal to do it. There's so many devs I've talked to in the past that have been like, man, it was the 11th hour. I wasn't taking a paycheck. We were doing this thing, and then this deal came through, and that's what made it happen. And luckily, that game blew up. And you know what I mean? Like, that is the reality of indie games for a lot of indies, not all indies by any stretch of the imagination. So I do wonder if this is canary in the coal mine. You're going to see more of these stories as a fallout of, because DICE, it was a lot of people being like, I talked to them, I talked to this, that, the other. They weren't giving the money. This dev was saying that they have enough money to get through the summer. Like, I'd be interested to see if you see more stuff like this, which is obviously terrifying, but it also goes back to buy what you fucking love. If you're interested in a game, buy that game. Don't wait for a sale. Get out of the gate and get there. Again, we've talked about this before. I will drive it home again. Wish list. Everything you saw from SGF, even the big stuff, who cares? Wish list it. That goes so far for smaller studios, smaller developers, smaller publishers to be able to broker better deals, this, that, the other. Obviously, IGN sees that kind of stuff. They then feature that kind of stuff. It's all a system that feeds to getting the game to more people.
Yeah. Anecdotally, like, I've seen the exact thing that you're talking about as far as not being able to get that baton pass to the next game. Even friends of mine who have worked for studios or have had indie studios, right? It's like, you release that first thing. All right, like, what are we going to do next? You shop around, see like what deals you can get or see what kind of funding you can get. And it is, shit. All right, no, right now is this really tough time. And then the studio shuts down.
Yeah.
I think you're exactly right that we're probably going to see a lot more of this. But this one was one that's like on a level where I'm like, oh shit, maybe we're going to see a lot more of this.
I would have thought, that was a success enough to get the next game funded to do the next thing. Again, we don't know if that's actually what happened. It went by, sorry, it's already gone. But somebody was like, taking the message the wrong way. Greg, some of us can't afford to pay full price on a game. I'm well aware of that. But you also can click the wishlist button. You can click the follow button. You can retweet the trailer. You can say you like something. There are a million ways to support video game studios and developers that are smaller, that are making stuff. That doesn't necessarily be you have to pay for the game at full price or whatever. It's just about doing it. Voltronic91 says you can wishlist on Game Pass too. Yes, a great point. And remember, if you are wishlisting a game that is not on Game Pass, when those indie developers, when those independent publishers go to talk to Microsoft, they will say, we have X thousand wish lists, which will help them get a better deal because they will see how it is. So,
and I don't know how
support
helpful it
game
is.
devs.
Yeah, I don't know how helpful it is, but this is something that PlayStation doesn't advertise. You can wishlist games on PlayStation now as well.
Of course.
Yeah.
Moving on. We're long in the tooth. Number 5 on the Roper Report. Bethesda won't rush Fallout 5, Todd Howard says. This is Tom Ivan at VGC. Bethesda has no plans to rush out a new Fallout game to capitalize on the franchise's current popularity. That's according to game director Todd Howard, who told YouTube channel Mr. Matty Plays, quote, Fallout's never been more popular, end quote, than it is following April's release of Amazon's TV show, which has helped drive a massive increase in game sales. Nevertheless, Howard said Bethesda is willing to take its time with the next mainline Fallout game in order to, quote unquote, get it right. For other Fallout games in the future, obviously, I can't talk about those right now, but I would say sort of rushing them through them, or we need to get stuff out that is different than the work we're doing in Fallout 76. We don't feel like we need to rush any of that, he said. Right now, the Fallout TV show fills a certain niche in terms of the franchise and storytelling. I totally get the desire for a new mainline single-player game, and look, those things take time. I don't think it's bad for people to miss things as well. We just want to get it right and make sure that everything we're doing in the franchise, whether it's Elder Scrolls or Fallout or now Starfield, that those become meaningful moments for everybody who loves those franchises as much as we do. Obviously, I can't talk about the stuff we're working on in this moment, Howard told Mr. Matty Plays. I'd like to hold that stuff back as long as possible. And my perfect scenario for games is to announce them and get them out as quickly as possible, end quote. He also said there are no current plans to modernize Fallout 1 and 2 or bring them to consoles. Makes sense. Seems to be doubling down on what he was saying when he was on the Gamescast, right? Yeah. Of like, he hinted a little bit more of multiple Fallout projects, but none of them sounded imminent.
Hear me out. What if you rush it? Listen, I know the positive thing to say would be like, yeah, take your time, don't rush the game, Fallout, big scale, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, yada.
Come on, man. I just want a Fallout game. Why can't I get a Fallout game? Like, why? Because it's so long.
They'd be buggy enough. Bethesda games always have trouble at launch, no matter what, right? There's always something going on. So it'd be even worse than that. He says next mainline Fallout game. I think that leaves the door open to a Fallout 3 remaster. It leaves the door open to somebody else doing something with the franchise. And also, you should come back to 76.
No.
Come on.
I'm good.
I'll show you around.
First of all, I saw the review you gave.
7. Good time.
I need more than a 7 out of a Fallout, man. That's a fucking...
Come back to Starfield.
Nah, okay, well, no. Now we're just going lower. Just went from a 7 to a 6. No, yeah, I mean, obviously, it all makes sense. I hope that, they get to the point where they're like, let's have another studio that has, like, the bandwidth to make a Fallout, right? Yeah. I would love an Obsidian Fallout. I don't know if Obsidian even has the bandwidth because they're making a bunch of other things.
You're excited for Avowed, right?
I'm excited for Outer Worlds 2.
Okay.
But yeah, like I would love to see somebody else's take on a Fallout, even if it is a classic. Hey, let's make another Fallout 1 or 2, right? Like I would like to see what a studio can do with that take. If Bethesda is like, we want to be the ones to make that mainline thing, let's share the love. Let's maybe see if somebody else can work on the project. But yeah, I'll wait for it, I guess.
I'm telling you, come on, just come in.
50 years old playing the next Fallout.
Come into 76 and just run the Vault 63 quest line with me. I'll be there. I'll help you out. I'll give you stuff. I'll show you around. That's
I'm
all.
Down for that.
Okay. Number 6, A Quiet Place game is coming later this year. This is Chris Holt at Engadget. The premise of A Quiet Place always seemed like great fodder for a game. Quote, make too much of a racket, and a blind, noise-sensitive alien will most probably kill you. 6 years after the original movie hit theaters, a video game spin-off is almost here. A Quiet Place, The Road Ahead, is coming to PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series later this year. Developer Stormmind Games, remothered Batora Lost Haven, has crafted a first-person horror adventure based on the movies. You'll play as a young woman who attempts to steer clear of those terrifying creatures while dealing with her inner fears and family turmoil. All you'll have to help you survive the aliens is whatever tools you can find, such as a flashlight or homemade noise detector. But, as the movies and game trailer make it clear, just a single noise can spell your doom. We are watching the CG trailer, it looks like, right now. I've been reading, I haven't listened. So
they said in-engine footage.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Publisher Saber Interactive first announced a video game version of A Quiet Place in 2021 and initially planned to release it in 2022. It took an extra couple of years and perhaps a change of studio. Saber initially said Illogica and Epitome. God, don't even get me started how they spell both these things. We're working on the project, but the road ahead now seems to be just a few months away.
Grumble in chat says, it's clear it's killing Blessing to admit that Xbox is doing good things.
What?
Sure.
I don't know where this comes from.
PlayStation fanboy, Blessing.
I gave the showcase a 9.5.
After shitting on it to get there.
Yeah.
I said the same thing about Nintendo just now.
You made Phil Spencer do the Andy Dufresne thing, crawl through a tunnel of shit to get to the heaven. You know
is that what Andy Dufresne did?
Yeah, remember? You ever watch this movie?
No, which movie is this?
Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, no, I actually never seen it.
Oh my God, bless. Fuck playing Fallout. Go watch it. Go tonight, watch that.
That's the one with Morgan Freeman, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, I'll do it.
Not the one where he says in the waters receded. That's a different one.
What movie does it say that?
That's Deep Impact.
Okay. Which one does he play God?
That's Bruce Almighty.
God, I love Bruce Almighty.
I love Morgan Freeman.
Bruce
You know what I
Almighty.
mean? Yeah, you got to watch Shawshank Redemption. What a fucking flick. Anyways, back to this.
But yeah, a Quiet Place game is such a good idea. I hope that this is good. It feeling like it's coming out of nowhere, and they're like, "Oh, it's coming right this year." I'm like, "Oh,
never
man.
a great sign.
Yeah,
never a great sign when it comes out of nowhere." But I will hope for the best. I don't know anything about Remothered or Batora Lost Haven.
Yeah, a Quiet Place game also seems like it could be a good candidate for a VR game.
Sure.
You know,
put the mic on too, like Alien or like a PT Alien Isolation.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if you're breathing loud, the monsters might hear you.
But Batora Lost Haven has a 69, nice, on Metacritic. Nice. The other one is Remothered. I can't remember the name for 2 seconds because I'm a fucking idiot.
Remothered. I've heard of Remothered. That was like one of those like out today things that you'd see it all the time.
Remothered,
like, another
Tormented Fathers, which is a great fucking name, has a 77 on Metacritic. So maybe don't sleep on it. We'll see. I'm hopeful. Coming soon. I like my horror games.
Somebody banned Grumble, by the way.
Yeah, do that. Yeah. Blessing.
Greg.
Quiet Place. 28 years later. You fucking kidding me? This is some big news I'm excited about.
Big old news.
But if I wanted small old news, say the tiniest news stories I need to know about, where would I go?
You'd go to our last story, the Wii News channel, where we cover all the small news items you need to know about.
Wii News number 7. Major Nelson has joined Unity. Quote, Larry says, I'm thrilled to announce that I'm joining the community team at Unity. Building on my long history as a developer advocate at Xbox, I'm excited to collaborate again with developers. Harnessing our collective creativity to shape the future of real-time gaming and experiences. Let's make magic happen. The Until Dawn movie has announced some of its stars in its cast. You have Ella Rubin, Michael Cimino, Jai Young-yu, Odessa Azan, and then there's an image of actors. I know none of these people.
I don't know.
Okay, great. Just making sure it's not just me.
Yeah, but like I don't want to speak out of turn because maybe they're big in like the stuff that they're
I'm sure they're huge. I'm sure everybody knows these.
I think the question then becomes like, oh, why aren't you going to do the people that were already in Until Dawn in 2014 or 2015? But I think the
they're
answer
all
there,
adults.
Yeah, the answer there is I think the game came out in 2015.
Have you seen Rami Malek lately?
Actually, no. What's up with him lately?
He just looks old.
Yeah.
Good callback, Greg.
From IGN, the next Lords of the Fallen game launches in 2026 for PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series. Publisher CI Games has announced. The Polish company confirmed that it has signed a publishing deal with Fortnite maker Epic Games for the PC version of the game, which does not have an official title. This suggests Lords of the Fallen 2, or whatever it ends up being called, will not launch on Steam. However, the rights to the game and the series, as well as publishing rights on all non-PC platforms, remain with CI Games. And from VGC, Super Mario Brothers director...
Smash Brothers.
Oh, sorry, Super... Did I say Mario?
You said Mario, yeah.
I apologize. Super Smash Brothers director, of course, Sakurai, has recorded his final YouTube video, he said. However, Sakurai said it will be a while before the final video is published.
You should do that.
Oh, I've thought about it.
You should just make your last YouTube video and be like, all right, it's done.
I've thought about it before where a message from beyond the grave. Give it to Roger. I'm like, publish this when I'm dead.
Ooh, yeah. I'm surprised you haven't done that, actually.
Dude, everybody, spoilers for my funeral.
Mm-hmm.
I was going around TikTok or Instagram Reels the other day, and somebody was like, we just left my grandmother's wake, and this is what she did, absolute legend. And it was a card that everybody got, and you open it up, and it said, let's keep in touch. And it was a mini Ouija board with a little thing. And I was
awesome.
I turned to Jen. I'm like, do this at my funeral.
There was a different TikTok that I saw. Somebody did that for Father's Day, where it was like the mom of the family and the kids did a picnic at the father's grave.
I saw it too, yeah.
And like they're just doing a bunch of stuff. And I think one of the things they did was bust out a Ouija board and talk to him.
Don't do the Ouija board. You get anybody at the graveyard though. Don't do that.
You can get anybody at the graveyard.
There's a lot of spirits there.
It's like a lot of spirits. It's like a walkie-talkie and it's interference, and it's like, oh shit, we're talking to the wrong person.
You come home with a fucking demon. You know how it is. Watch a fucking movie. Watch a documentary. Do your research. We asked people watching live on Twitch and youtube.com/kindoffunnygames to go to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong and tell us what we screw up as we screw it up. Bander SN says, Bless says Nintendo usually only puts out one entry in a franchise for a console regarding Mario Party. However, there were 3 on N64, 4 on GameCube, 2 on Wii, 1 on Wii U, and now 2 on Switch.
You know what? That's a very good point. I didn't even think about the fact that Mario Party, for some reason, just has 1 million entries on every console. But yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
Good one. Ladies and gentlemen, that's another episode of Kind of Funny Games Daily in the books. Thank you, of course, as always, for joining us. Remember, this is an 11-person operation all about live talk shows, which means up next, ladies and gentlemen, you are getting the Kinda Funny Gamescast, where they will, in fact, do their predictions for tomorrow's Nintendo Direct. Then it'll be a stream of Elden Ring. But remember, tomorrow is a big day now for us. 7 a.m. Pacific time, we will be live reacting to the Nintendo Direct. 8 a.m. Pacific time-ish, you'll get Kind of Funny Games Daily as your post-show to the Nintendo Direct. 9 a.m., you will get an embargoed Kind of Funny Gamescast, of course, Pacific time as well. And then you will get a 10 a.m. stream. So basically, the usual programming day moves up 2 hours wherever you are. And of course, then there's also the addition of this live stream. So lots going on tomorrow, but no reason to click off today. If you appreciate the work we do here, we appreciate you and would love it if you went to patreon.com/kindoffunny or youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, gave us a cool $10 a month to get good karma. The ability to watch all of our shows ad-free. The ability to watch us record our podcast in the afternoon live as we record them like we are right now, or this afternoon, with the Kind of Funny podcast. And of course, you'd get a daily video Gregway /podcast from me. If you didn't know, like I just said all of that, and I said it way at the beginning of the show, if you were to join the Patreon version of it right now, you would get 9 years of back content. Lots of cool stuff to see. Little Whisk says, will there be a post-direct review, which makes me want to slam my head into the table as hard as I fucking can. The Games Daily that follows the fucking direct tomorrow is the fucking review. Jesus fucking Christ. Ladies and gentlemen, goodbye. Fuck me. These fucking people don't. Why do I talk?
Wait, is there going to be a review?
That's what the Games Daily is.
What?